The IMF's slightly different, I'm afraid. Right, St Andrews, you therefore get the picture bonuses. To which style of architecture are these three buildings attributable? First, for 5 points.
High Baroque.
I'll accept that, it's Baroque, yes. Secondly, for 5 points.
Is it Norman?
Come on.
Is it Neo-Gothic?
Neo-Gothic is right. And finally, for 5 points.
Constructivist.
I'm told constructivist.
I'm not told that. I'm told postmodern. We've got 5 minutes to go. Jesus are on 25. St Andrews are on 230. A starter for 10. During the Lady Chatterley obscenity trial in 1960, Mr. Mervyn Griffith-Jones asked the jurors if it was a book they would wish which two groups...
St Andrews Young.
The wives or their servants?
Yes, is it a book you would wish your wife or even your servant to read? Right, St Andrews, 3 questions on the origins of names. Which hugely successful novel, first published in 1936, takes its title from the Ernest Dowson poem, Non sum qualis eram?
Any idea?
You've no idea?
No idea at all.
No, it's Gone with the Wind. Non sum qualis eram means I'm not the man I used to be. And the quote is it, I forgot much, Sinara, gone with the wind. For 5 points, which soccer club shares its name with an 1818 novel, which in turn took its name from a prison demolished in 1817? No?
Clapham.
Not Clapham. Heart of Midlothian. Finally, for 5 points, which band, founded in 1967 and the first to popularise the term heavy metal, took its name from the title of a 1927 German novel?
Was it?
Come on.
Steppenwolf.
Steppenwolf, indeed, from the novel by Hermann Hesse. Another start of a 10 with Jesus on 25, St Andrews on 245. We're in the closing, about 3 or 4 minutes. Which medieval king who spent less than 6 months of his 10-year reign in England?
Jesus Hudson.
Richard I.
Richard I is right. Come on, we can't hang around. Which site in Britain contains 56 large pits called Aubrey Holes, discovered by John Aubrey in the 17th century?
No idea.
Stonehenge. For 5 points, which African country takes its name from an architectural site near Masvingo in the southeast of the country, whose own name means House of Stones?
Zimbabwe.
Zimbabwe is right. Named after the pioneer of the 19th century women's rights movement in the United States, the phrase Lucy Stoners came to refer to women who insisted on doing what after marriage?
Keeping their maiden name.
Keeping their maiden name.
Keeping their maiden names is right. A start of a 10. Sir Peter Teazle did it in 1787. Cardinal Beaufort did it in 1805, as did Captain Cuttle in 1922. It usually takes just over 2.5 minutes to do. What is it?
Jesus Hudson.
I actually made a mistake there and was going to say swimming the channel, but that'd probably be quite quick.
You would have to be terribly quick, so you get it, St Andrews, and I'm afraid you're penalised 5 points.
So we'd finish the questions.
Any ideas, St Andrews? It's winning the derby, of course. They're the names of the horses, not the jockeys. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have penalised you 5 points. I did finish the question. So, now, which 2 Latin words for a start of a 10 contain an instruction to enjoy the present, or literally seize the day?
Jesus Brown.
Carpe diem is correct. Which trade is associated with each of the following? The British ski jumper Eddie Edwards, who competed in the 1988 Winter Olympics.
Plasterer.
Plasterer is right. The computer game character Mario.
Plumber.
He was a plumber. Starveling in Shakespeare's Midsummer Night's Dream.
Taylor.
He was a tailor. And another start of a 10 with Jesus on 70. St Andrews on 245. 2 minutes to go. Which nursery rhyme has been ascribed to a 16th century physician and entomologist, also known as Thomas Muffet?
St Andrews Clark.
Little Miss Muffet.
Little Miss Muffet is right. St Andrews, 3 bonus questions for you. In the House of Commons, Gatton, Dunwich and Old Sarum were 3 examples of what?
Rotten boroughs.
Rotten boroughs is right. What does an MP wish to do if he or she applies for the stewardship of the 100 of Stoke, Desborough or Burnham?
To resign his or her seat.
That's right, they're Chiltern Hundreds. Apart from the stewardship of one of the Chiltern Hundreds, which is the other nominal office an MP can apply for if he or she wishes to resign?
It's the manor of somewhere, manor of Fordingham or...
I'm afraid that won't do. No, it's the stewardship of the manor of Northstead. You are nearly right. Another starter for 10. Jesus still on 70, St Andrews on 265. We've got 1 minute to go. In what respect did an engineer supersede a soldier in 1990, a scientist supersede a playwright in 1991?
St Andrews Young.
The notes of the Bank of England.
That's right, £5, £20 and £50 notes. 3 questions. Three questions for you, St Andrews, on unlikely athletes. Which paediatrician, whose books on child rearing influenced a generation of parents after World War II, won a gold medal rowing for the United States in the 8s in the 1924 Olympics?
Dr. Spock.
Dr. Benjamin Spock is right. Which controversial World War II American general who died after a car crash in 1945 came 5th in the pentathlon in the 1912 Olympics with results that showed he wasn't very good at shooting?
General Patton.
General Patton is right. Old blood and guts. Finally, for 5 points, which future European king whose reign lasted from 1964 to 74 when he was deposed won a gold medal in the Dragon-class yachting in the 1960 Olympics?
King Constantine of Greece.
Constantine II of Greece, a starter for 10. Which scientific theory was first promulgated in Edward Lorentz's paper, Does the Flat of the Butter...
Jesus
Chaos.
Brown.
Chaos theory.
The chaos theory is right. Jesus... Which novel by Jack Kerouac... Dear, oh dear, that's the end of the contest. Jesus, you were just starting to get going. You have 80 points. St Andrews, you have 290. Jesus, I have to confess, Jesus, there was a point where I thought you'd gone to sleep. But you woke up at the end and you were going like a train. So bad luck, you've only scored 80 points. Probably not enough to come back for the next round. St Andrews, you will certainly be bound for the next round. Not only as a victor, but also for having got what I think is almost certainly the highest first-round score of 290, so many congratulations to you. I do hope you can join us the next time when we'll have the first of our second-round contest, but for the moment it's goodbye from Jesus.
Bye-bye.
And it's goodbye from St Andrews.
Goodbye.
And it's goodbye from me. Goodbye.
Fantasy in English football? Try BBC Two. Pin-ups, male bonding, probing questions.
Who is Marion Montgomery?
Insight.
I'll have a turnip coming out in your mouth.
University Challenge. Asking the questions, Jeremy Paxman.
Hello and welcome to University Challenge. Two more of the UK's brightest student quiz teams do battle for a place in the quarter-finals. Let's meet the teams contesting this second-round match. First, Birkbeck College London, who scored 215 points in their first-round victory over Queen's Belfast. Let's meet the Birkbeck team.
Hello, I'm Peter Grant-Ross from London, reading mathematics.
Hello, I'm Neil Biltu from London, reading applied linguistics.
And their captain?
David Standing from Tooting in South London, reading biology.
Hello, I'm Richard Routledge from Overton, Hampshire, reading history.
Their opponents tonight are the University of St Andrews, who notched up the highest score of all the teams in the first round matches, a magnificent 290 points, when they saw off the challenge of Jesus College, Cambridge. Let's meet the St Andrews team, the undergraduates, in their distinctive red gowns.
Hi, I'm Tim Wilkes from Sheffield, studying history.
Hello, I'm Matthew from Leon Sionastics, reading English and the history of art.
And their captain?
Hello, I'm Stephen Clark from Widnes in Cheshire, reading theoretical physics.
And Chris Young from Chinkford in London, reading classics.
Well, those are the teams. Here's a quick reminder of the rules. Starter questions can be answered by any contestant on the buzzer. 10 points for a correct answer. An incorrect interruption to a starter will result in a 5-point penalty and the question being offered to the other side. Bonus questions are a team effort worth a possible 15 additional points. Second round matches are sudden deaths, so only one of tonight's teams will reach the quarter-finals. Very best of luck to both Birkbeck and St Andrews. Fingers on the buzzer. Here is your first starter for 10. The Bishop's Eye is the medieval gatehouse to the 13th century Bishop's Palace in which cathedral city whose bishop is also Bishop of Bath?
St Andrews Clark.
Wells.
Wells is right. Right, St Andrews, you get 3 bonus questions on newspapers. Which British newspaper co-sponsored with the New York Herald Stanley's expedition to the Congo in the 1870s and amalgamated in 1937 with the conservative daily The Morning Post?
What are you saying there? The Daily News. The Daily News?
No, it's the Daily Telegraph. The first serious paper to have news on the front page. Which daily newspaper was founded in 1896 by Alfred Harmsworth and became a tabloid in 1971?
What's that? The Sun. Express. The Express?
No, it was the Daily Mail. In June 1987, Rupert Murdoch bought which tabloid from the Lonhro Group?
Today. What was the year again?
1987.
No, it wasn't. Right. Today.
Today is right. Well done. Right, here's another starter for 10. Based on a story by Prosper Mérimée, what was the title of Bizet's last opera whose music was used for a Broadway musical?
St Andrews Wilkes.
Carmen.
Carmen is right. The musical was Carmen Jones, of course. You get 3 questions, St Andrews, for your bonus about recipients of the Order of Merit. In 1907, who became the first woman to receive the Order of Merit?
1907. Any ideas? No idea. Queen Wilhelmina of the Netherlands.
Was an interesting idea. No, it was Florence Nightingale. She was 87 at the time, so it could easily throw you. Which British dramatist and novelist was created a baronet in 1913 and awarded the Order of Merit 9 years later?
Henry? No. No, we don't know.
It was J.M. Barrie, the creator of Peter Pan. Which American-born writer was awarded the Order of Merit and the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1948?
Steinbeck.
No, it was T.S. Eliot. Bad luck. You have 25 points, though. Birkbeck yet to get off. Here's a starter for 10, Birkbeck. And both of you, indeed. By a decree of the Venetian Senate in the 16th century, all gondolas, except those used in regattas, must be painted...
St Andrews Young.
Red.
I'm sorry, what was your answer?
Red.
No, wrong. Must be painted which colour? Any idea, Birkbeck?
Birkbeck standing.
Black.
Black is right. If that was a guess, it was a very lucky one. And St Andrews, of course, you lose 5 points for an incorrect interruption. Your bonus questions, Birkbeck. During the last 1974 to 79 British Parliament, all 3 of the main parties changed their leader. In each case, name the former leader and their elected successor.
74 has got to be Ted Heath to Margaret Thatcher. Ted Heath gave way to Margaret Thatcher.
Mm-hmm.
Callaghan became Michael Foot. Jim Callaghan gave way to Michael Foot.
No. Harold Wilson was replaced by James Callaghan. Michael Foot wasn't replaced until the 80s.
Going out and replaced by...
Steele.
Yeah. Yes, and Jeremy Thorpe was replaced by, it was Joe Grimman originally, wasn't it?
David Steele.
Or David Steele.
By David Steele, that's correct. You get 10 points for that. Right, you have 20 points. St Andrews also have 20 points. I started for 10. Which element, the last in the periodic table to have a stable non-radioactive isotope, has a relative atomic mass 208.98, proton number 83, and chemical symbol Bi?
St Andrews Clark.
Bismuth.
Bismuth is right. Your bonus for a possible 15 if you get all 3 parts. Which device for amplifying and controlling electrical signals was invented in 1948 by John Bardeen, Walter Brattain, and William Shockley?
The transistor.
Transistor is right. The name transistor comes from a combination of which 2 words?
Transferable resistance.
Oh, let's try that.
Transferable resistance.
Resistor.
Resistor. Sorry.
Transfer and resistor, yes, I'll take that. The junction transistor exists in 2 complementary forms, namely NPN and PNP. The letters N and P, meaning negative and positive, refer to the majority carriers in each region. What are the respective majority carriers?
Are they silicon and germanium?
No, they're electrons and holes, or electrons would have done for both. Right, you have 40 points, St Andrews. Birkbeck, you have 20, a starter for 10. What name is given to the descendants of the French-Canadian settlers driven by the British from Acadia in the 18th century, who settled in the...
Birkbeck Biltu.
Cajun or Cajuns?
Cajuns is right, well done. Birkbeck, for a possible 15 bonus points, you had 3 questions on children's literature. Which children's book, published in 1906, centres around Roberta, Peter and Phyllis, who are forced to move with their mother to a simple country cottage near a tunnel?
Railway Children. Railway Children.
Railway Children by Edith Nesbit is right. Who was the wise, genial old man created by Joel Chandler Harris, who told stories about Brer Rabbit and Brer Fox?
Oh, Uncle Remus.
Uncle Remus.
Uncle Remus is right. What was the title of the 1972 sequel to Roald Dahl's children's novel, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory?
Anyone?
James and the Giant Peach.
Anyone? James and the Giant Peach.
No, it was Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator. Right, let's go to a picture round now with Birkbeck on 40 points and St Andrews also on 40 points. Coming up is a photograph showing a famous athlete receiving a gold medal. At which Olympic Games was this picture?
St Andrews, Wilkes.
1968.
No, I'm offering it to you, Birkbeck. When was this picture taken? Which Olympic Games?
Birkbeck, Grant Ross.
Berlin, 1936.
Berlin, 1936, of course, and it's Jesse Owens, of course. Right, for your bonus points, we stay with the Olympic Games. I want you to give me the name of the city in which the following Olympic stadia are to be found and the year in which the Olympics took place there. First for 5 points.
What year is it? It's Los Angeles.
It was built for the first LA Games, 32.
I don't know. 1980.
Bad luck, you were right. It was built for... we would have accepted 1932. It was built for the 32 Olympics. It was also staged the scene of the 1984 Olympics, of course. Second for 5 points.
Well, that's Moscow, isn't it? That's Moscow.
80.
That's 80, isn't it? That's 80. 1980?
1980 is right in Moscow, indeed. And last for 5 points, look at the stadium in the background of this picture and tell me where it is and when the games took place there.
I think that's Munich, isn't it? Anyone?
Go for
Munich, 74. 74?
I'm sorry, it was Munich in 1972. You were jolly close, but I can't give it to you, I'm afraid. Right, let's go for another starter for 10. Birkbeck have 55 points, St Andrews have 35. For 10 points, a specialised agency of the United Nations with its headquarters in Washington. Which financial agency was founded in 1940?
Birkbeck, Grant Ross.
The World Bank.
No, I'm afraid it isn't. You should have listened to the rest of the question. It was founded in 1945, the same year as the World Bank, with the aims of stabilising foreign exchange rates, liberalising trade, promoting international monetary cooperation and assisting member nations in financial need.
St Andrews, Young.
The International Monetary Fund.
That's right, the IMF. St Andrews, you get 3 questions on lakes. What term is applied to a lake found on the floodplain of a river and formed by a cut-off meander?
An Oxbow Lake.
Oxbow Lake is right. Which 2 lakes are linked by the Welland Ship Canal, part of the St Lawrence Seaway?
Lake Erie and Lake Ontario.
That's correct. In the Lake District, which body of water lies above Great Langdale in the shadow of Pavey Ark?
Any idea? I think so. Windermere.
No, that's much lower down. It's Stickle Tarn. You're on 55 points there, St Andrews. You've just taken the lead from Birkbeck, who are on 50. It's very close. A starter for 10. His younger brothers, Lenin and Vladimir, are respectively an engineer and a businessman in their native Venezuela. Under what name is Ilich Ramirez...
St Andrews, Clark.
Carlos the Jackal.
That's right, he's Carlos the Jackal. For 15 points, 3 questions for you, St Andrews. Which religious and philosophical movement was founded by Siddhartha Gautama, who lived from about 563 BC until about 483 BC?
Buddhism.
That's right. The Theravada, or Theravada canon, which codified early Buddhism, was written in which language? Because the Buddha himself opposed the use of Sanskrit, a learned language, as a vehicle for his teachings.
Sinhalese.
No, it's a Pali. What is the name of sacred sounds which, along with the sacred gestures or mudras, are part of the ritual of Tantric Buddhism?
Mantra.
Mantra is right. Well done. You have 70 points. Birkbeck have 50 points. Here's a starter question for 10 points. Tottenham Hotspur in 1961. Arsenal in
Birkbeck standing.
Winning the double.
Of the...
League Cup and... League and FA Cup.
That's right. Well done. If you get these 3 bonuses, you're level with St Andrews. 3 questions on 19th century European peace treaties and conferences for you. What name was given to the Polish territory granted to Russia by the Congress of Vienna?
You say it.
Pomerania.
No, it was Congress Poland, or Congress Kingdom of Poland. The demilitarization of which sea was agreed at the Congress of Paris in 1856?
No idea. Black Sea.
Black Sea?
The Black Sea is right. After which assembly did Disraeli claim that he had brought back peace with honor, and Bismarck boast that he had driven Europe four in hand?
Congress of Berlin.
That was Congress of Berlin in... You don't need to tell me.
1874.
Well, nearly, 1878. Good. Right, you're on 70 points, Birkbeck. St Andrews have 75, a starter for 10. Which figure of speech, a combination of two Greek words meaning sharp and dull?
St Andrews Young.
Oxymoron.
Oxymoron is right, as in bittersweet and darkness visible. St Andrews, you get 3 questions on clothing. Which article of sporting clothing took its name from a town in Rajasthan about 500 kilometres southwest of Delhi?
Sporting clothing? Galoshes.
Are
they galoshes?
No, it's not galoshes, it's jodhpurs. What hat took its name from a literary character with the surname O'Farrell?
Trilby? No.
Trilby.
That Trilby's right. Which article of clothing took its name from the general who led the charge of the Light Brigade?
No,
Wellington.
General.
Was it Wellington?
Yes.
Wellington.
No, he didn't lead the charge of the Light Brigade. He was well past it by then. It was the Cardigan, of course, after the Earl of Cardigan, who led the charge of the Light Brigade. It's very, very close. We're exactly the halfway point. Birkbeck have 70. St Andrews have 19. We're going to take a music round now. Listen to this piece of music for your starter question, composed by Sir William Walton. What specific event in 1953 was it written for?
St Andrews Clark.
Was it the coronation?
It was the coronation of Queen Elizabeth II. Right, staying in a regal mood for the music bonus questions, the following 3 pieces refer to specific queens. First, for 5 points, who's the queen in this excerpt from a famous opera?
Is it?
Queen of the Night, sorry.
The Queen of the Night.
It was indeed, it is the Queen of the Night from the Magic Flute, and of course I forgot to tell viewers what that piece of music was you so rudely interrupted after 1 bar or less. It was, of course, Walton's Coronation March. The orb and the sceptre was the particular piece. Second, for another 5 points, which queen is arriving in this well-known musical extract?